Families consume so much of our resources today. People continue to have big families, which just depletes our resources even more. While people are having children all over the world, there are also children worldwide that go homeless, children that live in orphanages not having a family to love them, or in foster homes traveling from one family to the next. If people were more educated and knew that they had the option to adopt children instead of having biological children, would they be willing? If people were open to adopting children who don't have homes, it would not only help the earth substantially, but it would also save and make so many lives brighter. People are so driven by evolution to have their own biological children that they overlook everything else that comes along with bringing new lives into our overused, disposable world. By adopting children, we would not be putting as much stress on the earth. People could have big families, but it wouldn't deplete our resources as much because they would be saving children that were already in the world but did not have homes and weren't wanted by their parents.
Family Choices does adoptions of both domestic and international adoptions. We also do surrogacy and other kinds of placement of children. So at any rate, with our domestic adoptions, every couple or even singles or a gay couple has to do an application form, an application packet I should say, and that's about a ½ an inch thick, so they get a little bit discouraged when they get that. And then they have to pay an application fee of $300. Then after we get that back, we send the fingerprints that they have to do. We send those to the Department of Children and Family Services. And the Department of Children and Family Services then will do what they call an ILS. Meanwhile, we're getting ready to go out to do the home study, and the home study consists of at least 2 and usually 3 parts. I do believe that adoption is a good way for children to be loved and cared for. I do believe that these forms that we ask people to fill out and the visits that we make and the post-placement checkups that we do, those are good things because we've got to be sure that this baby is not going to an abusive home. We've got to be sure that this baby's going to be well cared for. So I think those are good processes. I do believe that adoption is a good way to go if people can't have children of their own. But even if they can have children of their own, it's still a good way to go. We have a couple that we have several couples who have some biological children and then have decided to adopt. Sometimes it's because they want a child of a certain sex. Sometimes it's because they just feel that it's their God-given call. First of all, these children are no longer throwaway children that are left in some foster placement someplace or the other. And not that foster placement's always bad. Sometimes it's excellent. But if they were in an institution, it would help the environment because these children are going to grow up to be productive citizens. They're going to be loved. They're going to be cared for. And I'm sure that most adoptive children probably have some questions during the time that they are adopting, that they're going through the adoption process. They'll question whether their birth parents love them or not. They'll question whether or not their birth parents gave them up or whether or not their birth parents made a birthing plan or a child care plan. The children know from when they're babies, from tiny babies, that you were chosen by us and your birth mother made an adoption plan for you, so that this child doesn't grow up feeling like, well, nobody loved me, because that's not true. An adopted child is going to be a loved child.
Adoption is a big commitment and a long process. It is very difficult and expensive to go through. If we could make this an easier process, would more people be willing to go through with it? Children could be saved, our earth could be better preserved, and families could gain new experiences with new children and learn so much more about the world and other things they may not be familiar with. It is not that everyone must choose adoption, but people should start considering less traditional options that they have not yet pondered. If it were possible for people to be more open to these ideas, they could help their environment while also helping those who are less fortunate.